Can you please introduce yourself and talk a bit about yourself? My name is Eric Johnson. I am a novelist and a journalist. I published my first novel, Whenever a Happy Thing Falls, in March of last year. I'm also an aerospace journalist for Reuters News. So I write about Boeing, Elon Musk's rockets, satellites, anything that flies. Before that, I covered breaking news, freight transportation, and politics, all for Reuters. I grew up in Chicago and currently live in Seattle. Can you introduce us to Whenever a Happy Thing Falls? Talk a bit about the main character. Whenever a Happy Thing Falls is a coming-of-age novel, and it follows a recent college graduate, Bale Ratcliffe, as he enters the greed-filled, frenetic, traumatic world of investment banking right after college. Now, initially, he wanted to be a writer. His passion was writing and poetry, and when you meet him for the first time in the book, chronologically, he's in London studying theater and poetry and fiction and in love with a precocious young actress. And you follow their relationship, but after he graduates, his father essentially issues him an ultimatum. And it's for a lot of common reasons that many people can identify with. It's, following a career path that's more stable, that provides economic security, that provides, the material luxuries that people to some degree need in life. And so he gives up his passions and he enters this world of 100-hour work weeks and corporate mergers and acquisitions, and his life quickly falls off the rails. It's drinking and drugs and promiscuous sex, and the reader follows his downfall for many months as he tries to do this. And so the central tension in the book becomes, can he summon the courage and the will to extract himself from this very toxic culture and pursue his dreams, or is he destined to become one of the bankers that he grows to loathe? Can you talk about the book and how your life, your own personal life, played a part in the plot? Whenever a Happy Thing Falls is absolutely semi-autobiographical. Much of my life experience at the time overlaps with Bale's. When I graduated college, I took a job in investment banking. I did it because I just made a mistake. I had studied economics at university and English, and thought similarly to Bale that this was a way, there's a real world out there. You have to join it. You have to work grueling hours in a real profession. And I did. I turned my back on my passion, which was writing. I didn't last as long in banking as he did, and thankfully my life didn't go off the rails as badly as his. But I pretty quickly recognized that I wanted to be a writer, and I remember leaving at lunchtime and going down, downtown, going down to the lobby of this massive building and, reading Faulkner in the lobby and eventually quit and took a job as a junior reporter at the Chicago Sun-Times newspaper, and where I covered the Chicago suburbs, and just fell in love with journalism and writing and continued to work on the book. Eventually I moved to Zagreb, Croatia with my wife, Margot, and lived there for a year where I wrote the first draft of my novel, and have been a writer ever since. Apart from my own life experiences, what else gave me inspiration for the story? I would say that most of the book stems from my own life experiences, at least from the perspective of geography. So the story structurally flips between places where Bale lives. So you encounter him in London, where he's studying abroad and writing poetry, and he's dating Meta, this precocious young actress. And then it goes to Chicago, where he's in this investment banking world and he's in his cubicle, and you drill down into the drama of everyday life as he's trying to make it in this culture. And then it pivots to rural Michigan in a cabin where he's taking stock and appraising his own life and trying to figure out, is there a way he can get out of this culture and maybe even change the culture and fix some of these pernicious things that he saw when he was at the bank. But a lot of it came from real life. It came from things I saw, things I heard. I actually had the journalistic habit, even before I was a reporter, of keeping a notebook and writing quotes down that people said and did. So I had amassed this material before I even knew I was going to use it to write a novel. Some reviewers have suggested that you wrote the book targeting college-age kids, or did you intend to write for that specific audience? I naturally think that college-age kids, people who are entering the workforce for the first time, would be naturally drawn to the book. Bale's story is a story that overlaps many kids at that age, where he's wrestling with the same pressures that they feel, which is the parental pressure to achieve, to make your parents happy, the pressure, societal pressure. We live in the United States. It's a very entrepreneurial, hardworking ethos, and you're constantly told that there's these specific paths that you have to take if you're going to be quote unquote successful. There's the standard professions, the doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, etc. And I didn't set out to write a book saying that one was bad, one's better than the other, but I do think that Bale's journey at least suggests the power of passion. You can't pick your passions. None of us can. And so if you follow what you're naturally interested in and excited about, I think, you'll find your way. You'll find the ability to have a career and at least have a very fulfilling, meaningful life.